It is finally veggie growing season, and I need to create 2 new raised beds for my veggie garden. But like you, I am limited in time and money that I can spend on this project. Let's see if I can get it done in a weekend. Oh, by the way, if you're new here, my name is Raina. Welcome. I love to share about gardening, cooking, and outdoor adventures. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can be sure that you catch all my future videos. I need to find, create, build 2 new raised beds for my garden. One of the raised beds is going to replace one of the current beds that I have that was made of some scrap wood that we had around the house, but is now starting to fall apart and deteriorate. And so I need a new bed situation to contain that. I also wanted to create 1 new bed so that I have additional growing space. I am really hoping to maximize my potential of growing this year. I don't have a huge space to grow in. I live in, just your normal suburban area, and my main sunny spot for gardening is along the fence by my driveway, so I'm really limited in space, but I want to grow as much food as I can so I can get into some preservation methods and learning just how to be more productive in my garden space. So I was mulling over a couple different options of whether I was going to try and build a raised bed, purchase wood from my hardware store, draw up some plans, build something sort of DIY, or whether I wanted to just purchase sort of an already done kit for a raised bed. Of course, I love the idea of being able to build something myself, build up my skills in woodworking and all of that, dust off some of those tools that are hiding in the basement or the garage. But because I'm limited in time on this project, I'm a busy mom, and right after this we're gonna go for a little stroller walk. But I'm a busy mom, I've got limited time, I have to get this project done quickly, and knowing that I didn't really have the DIY skills or the know-how with the tool, I really just didn't have the time or the money to put into doing a DIY sort of build for this. I really would love to be able to do that, but I was getting so overwhelmed just thinking about, okay, what size do I want to make it? 6 foot, 8 foot? Do I buy treated wood or untreated wood? What if it rots? How long is it gonna last? Thinking about how far I have to dig the posts in order to make it stable. You need more snacks?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. 1 minute, please. And we're back with more snacks. Okay, I really needed to be able to save time and money on this project. I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to come together, but I had a pretty good idea but I was getting overwhelmed thinking about all the different options when I was considering a DIY build or building a wooden raised bed. So I decided to go with one of the galvanized steel planters that just comes in a kit. The one that I bought, honestly, it was fine. It was okay. The box came with basically no instructions, and I wouldn't necessarily say this is an awesome product, go out and buy it, but it does look great in the garden, and it was not very expensive. I think I spent maybe $45 on a small bed and maybe like $60 something on a big one. So considering the cost of what lumber is today and the time it would have taken me to drop the plans, cut the wood, get the screws, this was the cheaper and easier option, and I just wanted to get to putting plants in the ground. That was the main goal, and I want to do things in a way that is intentional and sustainable, but I also needed to do something that was going to be realistic for my life. Now we need to work on bed number 2, which is the one where there is not yet an existing bed. It's just a space that's been cleared that we've been covering with cardboard to make sure no weeds grow up. So now I need to get that one situated into the ground, put down a hardware cloth to help keep out the critters, and then I will fill it up with soil. Okay, 2. Once I have the beds all together, I needed to figure out how I was going to, figure out what soil needed to go in it. So I did a little bit of research, as one does, looking on YouTube, and I discovered that most people do sort of a 50% topsoil to maybe 40% compost, 10% sand, or some other mix therein, and there are like a lot of variations of what you could do. And so I went to my local garden center, pulled up a bunch of prices on their different organic composts and potting soil or topsoil, and thinking about what it would entail in order to create my own mix of soil. And because I was establishing 2 new beds, I needed to buy quite a bit of soil. I think it was going to take something like 8 cubic yards to fill each raised bed. So I did a little research looking at my local garden center where I bought some of my other plants from my garden, including a tree that I planted in the front yard. If you didn't see that video, I will link it in the cards. Please go and check it out. I'm very proud of it. The time, the messiness, and the cost, it actually would not have been cheaper to make my own. I was going to end up buying soil for these beds. Okay, some of my sustainability concerns, because I do want to do this in a way that's as sustainable as possible. I was thinking about where can I get the soil locally. I try to buy things locally versus a big box store if I can manage it. I wanted to definitely go with something peat-free because of the environmental harms of destroying our peat bogs. And, if possible, buy it without plastic bags. I know that, as one person, I'm not going to solve the world's plastic issue, but whenever I can, I try to buy things not packaged in plastic. So I decided for the amount of soil that I need, it makes sense to buy a loose cubic yard of soil. And I actually am a customer of a composting service. That's how I compost all of my food scraps. And with them, I actually can buy compost or different mixes of soil blends. They do potting soil, compost, raised bed garden soil, and their prices for buying soil were actually quite affordable. So I decided on Till Soil, which is a local business here in Cleveland. They create compost from food waste. So why am I sitting in front of this big pile of soil behind me? Yes, that's right. I got new compost and garden soil for my new raised garden beds, and I'm so excited to tell you about the place where I got this soil from. I'm a customer of Rust Belt Riders, which is a service in Northeast Ohio that helps people to compost their food waste instead of it going into landfills, which is something I'm so passionate about, because one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gases actually is our waste from the food that we throw away. So by diverting some of that waste and turning it into useful compost instead of landfill waste, we're able to keep that circular economy moving, keep things out of the landfills, keep some of that methane from entering the atmosphere, and it makes beautiful, beautiful garden soil. So I got from their business that's affiliated with them, Till Soil, a yard of soil that's going to fill up my new raised garden beds. So that's what I decided on for these raised beds. We all want all the things. We want beautiful, productive gardens, amazing adventures to new places, thriving at work, clean homes, home cooked meals. But in order to have some balance and be able to enjoy time with our friends and family, we need to find a way to lighten the burden. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to compromise our values and give all of our money to mega corporations and billionaires. We can enlist support from our local community to make our projects easier. We can keep our money in our community, support those businesses whose expertise it is to do the things that we need. I'm not an expert in everything, for instance, making compost, but I can support someone who is, send my food waste to be composted, bring that compost back to create more food, really just keeping that circle going. And the point that I want to drive home here, and I hope encourages you as well, while I can't be skilled in everything, I can find someone who is, and by supporting their business, I keep money in my community, help improve my local environment, and I can get my project done faster and easier than if I had tried to just DIY the whole thing myself. So, time to get planting in those beds. I got one Brussels sprout growing right behind me, and I'm excited to get even more stuff going. Please come back next week. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this video. Next week, we'll be putting together our raised bed gardens and getting some fruit plants planted. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be amazing and awesome, and I can't wait until it's harvest time and we're pulling strawberries and blueberries and all those things out of the garden. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. Bye-bye.